Continue from chapter 27. Narad Rivacha Ittam Puranjanam Satrag Vashamaniya Vibramai Puranjani Maharaja Preme Ramayati Patim. So in chapter number 25 we saw Jiva accepting the dharmic intelligence. It's not spiritual intelligence, dharmic intelligence. Because if it wants to enjoy this world, it has to follow dharma, which we call as Varnashram dharma. Chapter 26 we saw the Jiva gives up the dharmic intelligence and goes for hunting. And after going for hunting means that is considered as adharmic or asuric. Then in middle of the chapter we saw it comes back and again accepts the dharma. That is what we saw in 26th chapter. 27th chapter, but it wants to come back to dharma, but the intelligence is tainted with sin. So it's not so easily, the intelligence doesn't get situated in dharma. Takes some time. So in 27, again, the influence begins creates in dharma, not spirituality, dharmic. So what happens to it? So this 27 chapter speaks again about how the Jivatma just tries to live a dharmic life without Krishna consciousness and what happens to it. Okay. Wherever there is dharma involved, whether in Bhagavad Gita or in Ishopanishad or any of the scriptures, Prabhupada tries to give the topmost dharma, paro dharma, that is bhakti. That is the reason most of the purpose was written about Krishna consciousness, Krishna consciousness. But 25, again, Jivatma coming in the material world, it has to follow yajna or dharma to become happy. 26, adharmic enjoyment, where it's like hunting woman and other things, giving up one's wife and going outside the varnashram, asuri. And 27 again, the jiva accepts the intelligence and follows the dharma, but not Krishna consciousness. So again, he is attacked by death personified. So that is the story now here. The great sage Narada continued, my dear king, after bewildering her husband in different ways and bringing him under her control, the wife of the king Puranjana gave him all satisfaction and enjoyed sex life with him. The 27th chapter describes how Puranjana, endowed with proper intelligence, dharmic intelligence, performed pious acts, but became afflicted by old age and disease, which is described through another story. Dharmic Jiva, encountering some obstacles, becomes contaminated internally by various sins. That is 26th chapter. He then regains his intelligence and performs charity, vows, and atonements. However, because the contamination does not leave his mind, becomes torn apart by constant regret. Again, by good fortune, attains his proper intelligence at the end of 26th chapter. This has been described in the previous chapter. This chapter describes his household life with proper conduct and intelligence, rules by dharma, varnashram dharma, was controlled completely by her affectionate actions, giving up the inclination for sinful life, going outside the marriage. The jiva becomes attached to dharmic intelligence as before. So Prabhupada writes, in other words, a systematic family life as enjoyed in the Vedas is better than an irresponsible sinful life. So husband and wife come together in Krishna consciousness and live together peacefully. That is very nice. However, husband becomes too much attracted by his wife and forgets his duty in life. The implications of materialistic life will again resume. So Prabhupada quoting Rupa Goswami, Anasakte Vishayan. Without being attached by sex, the husband and wife may live together for advancement in spiritual life. The husband should engage in devotional service, and the wife should be faithful and religious according to the Vedic intention. Such a combination is very good. Again, Prabhupada speaks about the stream means expands, and again, the husband has to basically he speaks about the intelligence and jiva. Here, the stree is compared to the intelligence which is passionate, and jivatma should be inclined to sattvic life. Then the intelligence can help the jivatma to take up spirituality. So that is what Prabhupada concludes here. By performing bhakti yoga or devotional service, a man can be raised to platform of goodness. A husband situated in the mode of goodness can control his wife, who is in passion and ignorance. Then the woman is benefited. Forgetting her natural inclination for passion and ignorance, the woman becomes obedient and faithful to her husband, who is situated in goodness. Such a life becomes very welcome. The intelligence of a man and woman may then work very nicely together, and they can make a progressive march towards spiritual realization. Otherwise, the husband, coming under the control of the wife, sacrifices his quality of goodness and becomes subservient to the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this way, the whole situation becomes polluted. So, what is the conclusion Prabhupada is giving? It's the conclusion of the previous 25, 26 chapters. And also, this chapter, also, the conclusion is the same thing. The conclusion is that household life is better than a sinful life, devoid of responsibility. So, household life will describe in this chapter. A sinful life was described in previous chapter. But if in the household life the husband becomes subordinate to the wife, again it will be described in this chapter. Involvement in materialistic life again becomes prominent. In this way, man's material bondage becomes enhanced. Because of this, according to the Vedic system, after a certain age, a man is recommended to abandon his family life for the stages of Varnashram, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. The theme is Dharma is नेयत कर्म धर्माये न विराय काय kalpate na tirtha pada sevaye जीवन api matopi sa. This is what Devuti is telling to Karda Muni when Devuti and Karda Muni they get married. It can be compared to this dharmic intelligence. Karda Muni was completely absorbed in his meditation, and his wife was like a dharmic wife doing all the seva. But begets 9 children, 9 daughters from him. And he tells the condition that as soon as the children are born, I'll leave. But that time, Mother Devuti says, Neha yat karma dharma ye. What is the point of doing karma if it is vikarma? That karma should be dharmic, varnashram dharma. It should not be asuric. Na vairagaya kalpate. What is the point of doing that varnashram dharma which will not arouse renunciation in your heart? Na viragaya kalpate. What is the point of that renunciation? Next step. Na tirtha pade sevaya. If karma is not leading to dharma, what kind of dharma it is? And if the dharma is not leading to vairagya, what kind of dharma it is? And if that vairagya is not leading to serving tirtha pada sevaya, serving a pure devotee, or serving Lord Vishnu's associates, or taking a bhakti process, jivan api martopi saha. So you can see in this chapter that theme that the Puranjan has accepted his dharmic intelligence, but he forgets doing the tirtha pada sevaya, bhakti. Therefore, is attacked by the death personified Kalakanya along with Yavan Raj and Prachvara. This is the theme of this chapter. Saraja Mahishim Rajan Sushnatam Ruchiranam Krita Swastyayanam Truptam Abhyanandad Upagatam. Yes, so we'll start with devotees reading three verses. Yes. Surikant Krishna Prabhu, please.
Yeah.
We missed you yesterday. And start with today.
Yeah. The queen took her bath and dressed herself nicely with all auspicious garments and ornaments. After taking food and becoming completely satisfied, she returned to the king. Upon seeing her beautifully decorated, attractive face, the king welcomed her with all devotion.
Read the highlighted one, please, blue one, and then yellow one.
Okay,
One minute.
seeing the happiness of his dharmic in Seeing the happiness of his dharmic intelligence and freed from contaminations in his mind, he felt himself successful. It is the duty of a wife to dress herself very nicely so that her husband returns home, he becomes attracted by her dress and cleanliness and thus becomes satisfied. In other words, the wife is the inspiration of all good intelligence. Upon seeing one's wife dressed nicely, one can think very soberly about family business. When a person is too anxious about family affairs, he cannot discharge his family duties nicely. A wife is therefore supposed to be an inspiration and should keep the husband's intelligence in good order so that they can combinedly prosecute the affairs of family life without impediment.
So, what is being spoken here about dharmic varnashram dharma, husband and wife stay together, and there are two things. One is pravritti marg, one is nivritti marg. So, what the path is being spoken here is of pravritti. Okay, dharma, artha, kama. and moksha. But here at least dharma should lead to artha and kama. But there's another way of just living alone, live in relationship when there is no regulation. One can enjoy anyone. That is not, that is another which is demonic lifestyle. So here what is being told about is dharmic lifestyle. तयोपगूढ परिरब्धकन्दरो रहोनुमन्त्रैरपकृष्टचेतना अकालरंहो बुबुद्धिदुर्त्ययम् दिवानिशेति प्रमदा परिग्रह अपकृष्टचेतनम्. Prabhupada elaborates on this and pramada parigraha, these two things. Yes. Can it three shlokas, Prabhuji?
Okay, yes. Queen Puranjani embraced the king, and the king also responded by embracing her shoulders. In this way, in a solitary place, they enjoyed joking words. Thus, King Puranjana became very much captivated by his beautiful wife and deviated from his good sense. He forgot that passing of days and nights meant that his span of life was being reduced without profit. Shall I read the highlighted one? Okay. He lost his intelligence for crossing samsara because of mantras concerning dharma and karma. He was not aware of the force of time because he had no detachment. He was not aware that day he had passed and night had arrived.
Yes.
But the word
I think Ramprasad
pramada,
was asking one question yesterday. What is his dharmic intelligence? Because in the 25th chapter we saw it's just plain enjoyment. So it is a pravritimag enjoyment of varnashram. It's not the spiritual intelligence, it's dharmic intelligence. Hmm? Yes.
okay.
Can you prove pramada?
The word pramada in this verse is very significant. A beautiful wife is certainly enlivening to her husband, but at the same time is the cause of degradation. The word pramada means enlivening as well as maddening. Generally, a householder does not take the passing of days and nights very seriously. A person in ignorance takes it as the usual course that days come and after the days the nights come. This is the law of material nature. But a man in ignorance does not know that when the sun rises early in the morning, it begins to take away the balance of his life. Thus, day after day, the span of one's life is reduced, and forgetting the duty of human life, the foolish man simply remains in the company of his wife and enjoys her in a secluded place. Such a condition is called Apakrita Chetana or degraded consciousness. Human consciousness should be used for elevation to Krishna consciousness. Every moment of our lives should be utilized properly, and the proper use of life is to increase the devotional service to the Lord. Without devotional service to the Lord, the activities of life become simply a waste of time. Shama eva hi kevalam. Simply by becoming the dutiful, we do not make any profit in life.
Yes. So that only. Shama eva hi kevalam. Jivana koi mrtopi sa. Same. Shaya Shayana unnada mado mahamana Mahartalpe Mahishi Bhujopadi Tameva Viro Manute Param Yatas Tamo Vibhuto Nanijam Param Chayat.
In this way, increasingly overwhelmed by illusion, King Puranjana, although advanced in consciousness, remained always lying down with his head on the pillow of his wife's arms. In this way, he considered woman to be his ultimate life and soul. Becoming thus overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, he could not understand the meaning of self realization, of his self, or of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The spiritual meaning is that because of association with Dharma, represented by his wife, he became attached to Dharma, and that became his goal of life rather than liberation, because he did not know himself as Jiva and did not know the Lord. He became engrossed in Dharma, Unnada Madha, and the thought of performing charities, Mahamana. He slept on a valuable bed. He was engrossed in pious acts. He made a pillow, Upadhi, of his wife's arms. He was covered, Upadhi, by ignorance. Okay. Human life is meant for self realization. First of all, one has to realize his own self, which is described in this verse as Nijam. Then he has to understand or realize the Supreme Soul or Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, When one becomes too much materially attached, he takes a woman to be everything. This is the basic principle of material attachment. King Puranjana was a great soul, highly intellectual, and possessed of advanced consciousness. But due to his being too much addicted to woman, his whole consciousness was covered. In the modern age, the consciousness of people is too much covered by wine, woman, and flesh. Consequently, people are completely unable to make any progress in self-realization. Thinking of a woman always within one's heart is tantamount to lying down with a woman on valuable bedstead. The heart is the bedstead, and it is the most valuable bedstead. When a man thinks of a woman and money, he lies down and rests on the arms of his beloved woman or wife. In this way, he overindulges in sex life and thus becomes unfit for self-realization.
So here Chakravarti was mentioning about this verse. So he's giving this. What is the meaning of pillow? Lying down with the head on a pillow. All these things, he is trying to mention. What is that? His wife is dharmic. That is the intelligence which wants to just follow Varnashram Dharma, not spiritual. And that is the goal. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Moksha is not the goal. Rather than liberation should be the goal. Or Pancham Purushartha, Vishnu Bhakti. But only just do Artha and Kama. That just husband and wife coming together and doing varnashramic things for money and for getting sense gratification in terms of home, children, prosperity, a good mode of sattvic life. So this became detached to dharma, attached to dharma, and this that became his goal without moksha. But he did not know himself as Jiva, did not know the Lord. Pancham Purushartha he forgot. He became engrossed in dharma, that is called as Unnada Mada, and thought of performing charities, that is Mahamana. So, and Upadhi. Pillow is compared to the Upadhi. What is the Upadhi? I'm a king and she's my wife, all those things. Who was saying that is Upadhi pillow, that's compared to the pillow. Taivam Brahmamanasya Kamakashmalachitasa Shanardamiva Rajendra Vyaktikrantam Navam Yavaya. Yes, Mataji, you can read.
My dear king, with his heart, heart full of lust and sinful reactions, began to enjoy sex with his wife, and in this way he knew his life of half a all. All of this is also very pleasing to the animals. Therefore, in human society, there are restrictions in the enjoyment of five sense objects. If one does not follow, he becomes exactly like an animal. Kama Kashmar Chetasa. The consciousness of King Puranjan was polluted by lusty desires and sinful activities. In the previous verse, it is stated that Puranjana, although advanced in consciousness, lay down on a very soft bed with his wife. This indicates that he indulged too much in sex. The words Navam Vaya are also significant in this verse. They indicate the period of the youth from age 16 to 30. The material enjoyments of youth are especially pleasing to a person who has no spiritual training. If one is trained only according to the bodily conception of life, he simply leads a disappointed life because bodily sense enjoyment finishes within 40 years or so. After 40 years, one simply leads a disillusioned life because he has no spiritual knowledge. For such a person, the expiration of youth occurs in half a moment. Thus, King Puranjana's pleasure, which he took in lying down with his wife, expired very quickly. Kama Kashmala Chetasaha also indicates that unrestricted sense enjoyment is not allowed in the human life, in human form of a life by the laws of nature. If one enjoys his senses unrestrictedly, he leads a sinful life. These laws and these laws and scriptures are meant for human beings. As such, if one violates these laws, he becomes sinful. The conclusion is that unrestricted sense enjoyment means sinful activities. Illicit sex is the sex that violates the laws given to the scriptures. When one violates the laws of scriptures or the Vedas, he commits sinful activities. One who is engaged in the sinful activities cannot change his consciousness. Our real function is to change our consciousness from Kashmala, sinful consciousness, to King, to Krishna, the supreme pure. Krishna is the supreme pure, and if we change our consciousness from material enjoyment to Krishna, we become purified. This is the process of recommended by the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the process of Cheto Darpana Marjanam. CC Antalila 20.12, cleansing the mirror of the heart.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a short question.
Yes.
So, generally we see here that Puranjana is said that he is leading a dharmic life. But from these verses, it seems that he's indulging in sex life. Okay. So, how is it? Because generally it is said that man and woman should come together only for children. That is dharmic. Other than that, everything is adharmic. So, Puranjana was also within the marriage, but he was overindulging. So, is that adharma?
It will come in next verse, what you're asking.
Okay. Thank you.
Next verse, after enjoying, he's begetting 1100 children.
That's why I was asking this thing.
Yeah. Yes. And daughters, 110 daughters. Tasyayam majanayat putran puranjanyam puranjana shataneka dasha virat ayusho ardam atat yagat. Yes, ma'am, please continue.
The great sage Narada then addressed King Prachin Bhairshad, O one whose lifespan is great, Virat. In this way, King Puranjana begot 1,100 sons within the womb of his wife Puranjani. However, in this business, he passed away half of his lifespan.
Chakravarti Bhat says he begot 110 sons. Because Shatani Ekadasha can refer to Ekadasha, if you take in front of Shatani from Sanskrit, 1100. But if Shatani plus 11, 100 plus 11, 111. So it's like Acharyas, it's author's choice of Acharyas. So then accordingly they say, but the both agree one thing, that it's 1100 or 110. He spent 50 years in the sex life and mental enjoyment. So what spiritual significance in this? He spent it in dharma artha, kama, not in moksha, pancham purushartha. That is the spiritual significance of this verse. Yes, you can read Mataji. If a man is in.
Yes. If a man is in good consciousness, he consults with his religious wife, and as a result of this consultation with intelligence, one advances in his ability to estimate the value of life. In other words, if one is fortunate enough to have a good consciousness wife, he can decide by mutual consultation that human life is meant for advancing in Krishna consciousness and not for begetting a large number of children. Children are called parinam or byproducts. And when one consults his good intelligence, he can see that his byproducts should be expansion of his Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So in the beginning of the whole purport, Prabhupada speaks about man woman coming together nowadays, how they come only for passion. First, he writes about the Ekadash Shatani, that if you see about the ideal married life, it's about having a lot of children. And they never used any contraceptive methods. But Prabhupada speaks about what is real contraceptive method is absorption in the higher life. That is what he says. It is not that one should indulge in unrestricted sex life and avoid children by using some method to check pregnancy. Prabhupada brings out a point here. Restraint in sex life. That is actual contraceptive. And how that comes? By higher taste. Duitra dasha uttaro shatam dashottara shatam. 10 plus 100, 110 daughters. Duhitra is daughter. Vitramatra Yashaksh. Yasha Ashkari, they had the qualities of father and mother. Shilo, Audarya Gunapeta, these are the qualities. Shila, Audarya, Gunapetaha. Pauranjanya Prajapate, and they are called as Pauranjanya because they are representing their mother and father in their qualities. Chakrutipad says here, he had daughters like Shame. Again, what is that? Sheila, enthusiasm, and thoughtfulness. This shame should not be thought as a negative shame, but as a positive one, which is culture, sanskara, sanskriti, sanskara. The number of sons who was more because it is considered proper in household life to have more sons. The daughters had good qualities because of their previous pious acts for previous life. Because they were his daughters, they were called as Pauranjanya. Yes. Again, Prabhupada speaks about Varna Sankarana. When children begotten from the rules and regulations, they are not Varna Sankara. But when there is no Garbhadhan Sanskar, that gives rise to Varna Sankara. Yes, Mother, you can read this. Yellow highlighted.
Even though we may produce many good children, our desire for sex that is beyond the prescribed method is to be considered sinful. Too much enjoyment of any of the senses, not only sex, results in sinful activities. Therefore, one has to become a Swami or Goswami at the end of his life. One may beget children up to the age of 50, but after 50, one must stop begetting children and should accept the Vanaprastha order. In this way, he must leave home and then become a sannyasi. A sannyasi's title is Swami or Goswami, which means that he completely refrains from sense enjoyment. One should not accept the sannyas order whimsically. He must be fully confident that he can restrain his desires for sense gratification.
Yes. Sapanchalapatiputran Pitravamsha Vivardhanan Tarai Samyojayam Asa Duhitra Sadrashayvarai. So he got them married. So Chakrutipad, the wives were consideration, determination. Again, previously it was Sheila, Audra, Gunapetaha. Then grooms were humility, affection. So these are like uh, when one follows a Varnashram path, the offsprings which are there, the good qualities, dharmic qualities that come. Again in future, further verses after 2021, the Kal Kanya and Prajvara, Melacha, everything will come. They are the children of Adharma. So basically, this chapter speaks about leading a dharmic life versus battle of adharma. That is what. Therefore, now the children who are born are dharmic. Yes, Mats, please read this purport according to.
According to the Vedic system, everyone should marry. One has to accept a wife because a wife will produce children, and the children in their turn will offer foodstuffs and funeral ceremonies so that the forefathers wherever they may live will be made happy. The offering of oblations in the name of Lord Vishnu is called Pinda Pindodaka. That is necessary that the descendants of a family offer pinda to the forefathers. The Vedic social organization is very good in that it stops the promulgation of illicit sex or Varna Sankara, which appears under different names in this present day. Unfortunately, in this age, although the father and mother are anxious to get their children married, the children refuse to get married by the arrangement of the parents. Consequently, the number of Varna Sankara has increased throughout the world under different names.
Putranam cha bhavam putra ekaikashya satam yarvai puranjano vamsha panchaleshu sameditaha. Yes. Shubha Lakshmi Mataji, can you read this?
Of his many sons, each produced hundreds and hundreds of grandsons. In this way, the whole city of Panchal became overcrowded by these sons and grandsons of King Surendra.
Yes. Basically, he developed the sons were pious acts. Basically, he did a lot of punya in that body, dharmic, varnashram dharma, but he could not practice bhakti. That is what it indicates. Yes, Mataji, please read this.
We must remember that Puranjan is the living entity and the city Panchal is the body. The body is the field of activity for the living entity, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetranya. There are two constituents. One is the living entity, Kshetranya, and the other is the body of the living entity, Kshetra. Any living entity can know that he is covered by the body if he only contemplates the body a little bit. Just within a little contemplation, we can come to understand that the body is his possession. One can understand this by practical experience and by the authority of the Shastra.
So you can read this also, the body. I missed out this. Yeah, this one.
The body is taken as the Panchal Desh or the field of activity, wherein the living entity can enjoy the senses in their relationship to the five sense objects, namely Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, Sparsha, and Shabda. And that is sense objects made out of earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Within this material world, covered by the material body of the subtle and gross matter, every living entity creates actions and reactions, which are herein known allegorically as sons and grandsons. There are two kinds of actions and reactions, namely pious and impious. In this way, our material existence becomes portrayed by different actions and reactions.
Okay, yeah. So the great sons and grandsons are pious actions. Continue, Mother, you can continue. That's the field of action and reaction.
Thus, the field of action and reaction by which one's descendants are increased begins with Krishna. Puranjan increased his whole family by begetting sons, who in their turn begot grandsons. Thus, the living entity being inclined towards sexual gratification becomes involved in many hundreds and thousands of actions and reactions. In this way, he remains within the material world simply for the purpose of sense gratification and transmigrates from one body to another. This process of reproducing so many sons and grandsons results in so-called societies, nations, communities, and so on. All these communities, societies, dynasties, and nations simply expand from sections.
And Prabhupada quotes there, Maitunadigraham Sukam Hitupcham. So he speaks about that, and he says that how a person just enjoys to produce children, grandchildren. So the entire earth is populated and material, and then what is provoked when they don't become dharmic? Then there is war, famine, pestilence, earthquakes. Yes, indeed, from it was the entire population.
The entire population is again extinguished, simply to be recreated. This process is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 8.19 as repeated creation and annihilation. Bhuta Bhuta Pralyuta. Due to a lack of Krishna consciousness, all this creation and annihilation is going on under the name of human civilization. This cycle continues due to man's lack of knowledge of the soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
तेषु तत् रिक्तहारेषु ग्रहकोशान् जीविषु निरुद्धेन ममत्वेन विषयेषु विषयेष्वन्वभद्यता.
These sons and grandsons were virtually plunderers of King Puranjana's riches, including his home, treasury, servants, secretaries, and all other paraphernalia. Puranjana's attachment for these things was very deep-rooted.
Yes, so Chakravarti says here, become attached to sons such as discrimination, who stole his treasure of pride to his life heirs, Gra Anujjivishu, and his strength of mind and senses, Koja Anujjivishu. Basically, attached to sons means he attached to pious activities. And then what? Then he could not take up spiritual life. Rather, he was happy in his sattvic life without Shuddha Sattva. Again, Prabhupada speaks about the Rikta Hareshu, grandsons, descendants, ultimately plunderers of one second material. Prabhupada gives example of one famous businessman who had 15 wives. 6 wives, I think, 6 wives, yeah. And he wanted to give each one of them, that time, 500,000 rupees. That is in 1975. Prabhupada is quoting that. That is how a person is simply absorbed in expanding on the pious dharmic, materialistic way. We can read from here. This is the materialistic way of life.
This is the materialistic way of life. In materialistic life, one is encaged within the body and deluded by false egoism. Thus one thinks, I am this body, I am a human being, I am an American, I am an Indian. This bodily conception is due to false ego. Being deluded by false ego, one identifies himself with a certain family, nation, or community. In this way, one's attachment for the material world grows deeper and deeper. Thus, it becomes very difficult for the living entity to extricate himself from this entanglement.
So he quotes from Divine Demonic, the nature of the demons. Idam madhyamaya labdam imam prapshe manoratam idam astidam api me vishyati punardanam ashomaya hato satrur anishesha paramapi ishvaro हम भोगी सिद्धो हम बलवान सुखी आद्यो बीजा नवन अस्मि को अन्योस्ति सदृशो मया yakshedasyami modishe iti anjana vimohita. In this way, the demonics think. So there is no one so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifice, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So the Prabhupada again connects this ignorance in the next to killing of animals. In this way, people engage in very laborious activities. Attachment for body, home, family, nation, and community becomes more and more deep rooted. Ije cha krutubir dikshita pashumaраkai devan pitrabhuta patin nana kamo yata bhavan. Yes, I think Mataji is finished. You are remaining one more sloka remaining, Mataji, for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
The great sage Narada continued, My dear King Prachin Bhavishya, like you, King Puranjan also became implicated in so many desires. Thus he worshipped demigods, forefathers, and social leaders with various sacrifices which were all very ghastly because they were inspired by the desire to kill animals.
That killing of animals Prabhupada compares here as ignorance. Yes.
In this verse, the great sage Narada discloses that the character of Puranjan was being described to give lessons to King Prachin Bhavishya. Actually, the entire description was figuratively describing the activities of King Prachin Bhavishya. In this verse, Narad kindly says, like you, Yatha Bhavan, which indicates that King Puranjan is none other than King Prachin Bhavishya himself. Being a great Vaishnava, Narad Muni wanted to stop animal killing in sacrifices. He knew that if he tried to stop the king from performing sacrifices, the king would not hear him. Therefore, he is describing the life of Puranjan. But in this verse, he first discloses the intention, although not fully, by saying like you. There are two ways of animal killing. One way in the name of religious sacrifices. All the religions of the world, except the Buddhists, have a program for killing animals in places of worship. According to Vedic civilization, the animal eaters are recommended to sacrifice a goat in the temple of Kali under certain restrictive rules and regulations and eat the flesh. Similarly, they are recommended to drink wine by worshiping the goddess Chandika. The purpose is restriction. People have given up all these restrictions. Now they are regularly opening wine distilleries and slaughterhouses and indulging in drinking alcohol and eating flesh. A Vaishnava-acharya like Narad Muni knows very well that persons engaged in such animal killing in the name of religion are certainly becoming involved in the cycle of birth and death, forgetting the real aim of life, go to home back to Bangladesh. Srila Narad Muni chastised Vasudev for compiling so many Vedic supplementary scriptures, which are all intended for guiding the people in general. Narad Muni condemned these scriptures because they do not mention direct devotional feelings. Under Narada's instructions, direct worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was set forth by Vasudev. The conclusion is that neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu nor his devotees ever sanctioned animal killing in the name of religion. Indeed, Krishna incarnated himself as Lord Buddha to put an end to animal killing in the name of religion. Animal sacrifice under the name of religion is conducted by the influence of Tamoguni, the mode of ignorance. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strive always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. At the present moment, it is the greatest misfortune that in India many so-called missionary workers are spreading irreligion in the name of religion. They claim an ordinary human being to be God and recommend meat eating for everyone, including so-called sannyasis.
So that is tamaguna, killing of animals for sense gratification or even for karmakandas purpose. Yukteshva evam pramattasya kutumba sakta chetasa asa sadasa vaikalo yo priya yoshitam. Yes, someone else. Who is there? Yes, Ramkrishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thus, King Puranjana, being attached to fruitive activities, karma kandiya, as well as kith and kin, and being obsessed with polluted consciousness, eventually arrived at that point not very much liked by those who are overly attached to material things.
So he was inattentive to things beneficial for him, like bhakti and detachment. Kala means old age. It is disliked by the woman since it is unfavorable for enjoyment. Apriya Yoshitam. Yes. Can read bro
In
this.
this verse, the words Priya Yoshitam and Apriya are very significant. The word Yoshit means woman and Priya means dear or pleasing. Death is not very much welcome for those who are too much attached to material enjoyment, which culminates in sex. There is an instructive story in this connection.
Story Prabhupada speaks about a sage meeting four kind of persons: a king, then a butcher, then a brahmachari, and then a devotee. And all of you know this: Jivova, Marova. Brahmachari immediately die. A butcher neither die, neither live. King live long, but devotee you can either live, you can. Even if you na jiva, na man. Even if you live, it's fine, and even if you die, it's fine. No issue. So that is what Prabhupada says. A saintly person may either live or die, but during his life, he's engaged serving the Lord. After his death, he also serves the Lord. Thus, this life and the next are same for saintly devotee. For in both he serves the Lord. And since the hunter lives a very ghastly life due to killing animals, and since he will go to hell when he dies, he advised neither not live nor die. Yes, bro, you can read this, some foolish judgments.
Some foolish Russian scientists also claim that they are going to make man immortal through scientific advancement. Under the leadership of such crazy fellows, civilization is going on. Cruel death, however, comes and takes all of them away despite their desires to live forever. This type of mentality was exhibited by Hiranyakashipu, but when the time was ripe, the Lord personally killed him within a second.
Yes. Chandavega iti kyato Gandharvadhipatirnrpa Gandharvastasya balina Shashtitar Yes. So
O
now
king,
he has finished 50 years and then 50 years onwards, the old age starts. But one can 51, 52, 53 till 55, the retirement time comes. Till that time, plus 5 years is given bonus. The old age starts, but still a person continues struggle for existence. That is what Prabhupada writes here. Now, old age is starting now. Translation, Puji.
O king, in Gandharva Loka, there is a king named Chandavega. Under him, there are 360 very powerful Gandharva soldiers. Chanda Vega moving strongly, which is the year was which is the year was the leader of the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas are days. The woman Gandharvas are nights. They are paired with the days. The white ones were the waxing phase of the moon, and the black ones were the waning phase of the moon. They circled around the city and plundered it. This indicates that from birth, every day, the lifespan is stolen by time.
Yes, it is nothing but different dashanas which come in one's life in the form of different days, years, months. So this is a year. Year has 360 day and nights. Yes, bro. The sun rises.
As the sun rises and sets, it snatches away the balance of our lifespan. Thus, as each day passes, each one of us lose some of our life's duration. It is therefore said that the duration of one's life cannot be saved. But if one is engaged in devotional service, his time cannot be taken away by the sun. As explained in later verses, the Gandharvas are both male and female. This indicates that both men and women lose their lifespan imperceptibly by the force of time, which is herein described as Chandavega.
So, and someone can give an explanation why what happens when a person engages in devotional service, why the sun cannot steal his days.
Prabhuji,
Because
there
it
is this
shows
verse,
that
Udyan Astan Chayan Nasau, that
Hmm.
verse.
So what?
Because
Hmm.
engaged in devotional service,
Hmm.
so therefore, like, whatever he does, first of all, is never lost, is spiritual. And when he's in devotional service, he's basically taking his consciousness already out of the materialistic way. So therefore, that activity is the sun cannot take away. It is a permanent spiritual benefit. So therefore, it is never lost. Therefore, sun cannot take away his life like that.
Yes, good, very good. Anybody else? Any other? What Chakrutpat gives commentary in that purport? I think Prabhupada also writes the same thing in the purport about Chakrutipat's commentary there. The graphic purport. How bhakti, when you do bhakti, our lifespan doesn't decrease. Yes, Ramachandra told thing, it's right that like bhakti is a permanent asset, sun cannot steal it.
Prabhuji, one thought is that one takes a shelter of Supreme Lord, so at that time his energies cannot directly control that entity. So that's why sun or time, even though they are energies of Lord, they are representative of Lord, they cannot act on that person or entity because
Yes, like I'll give example, I think. Uh, Anybody else would like to try? Good. What Suryan Push told that energy is when somebody is engaging in Lord service, the energy of the Lord, servants of the Lord, they don't want to serve, they don't want to steal. Okay? Anybody else?
Because material actions and reactions are stopped. When we engage in devotional service, the material actions and reactions are stopped. So,
Okay, fine, good. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? What happens when we do bhakti? Why the sun doesn't steal? Although we are also becoming old, although we have to leave the body. How will you tell a new person who comes? Or you are trying to cultivate some person comes and asks you. Chakravarti gives a very nice analogy on this. He gives analogy of a farmer and he gives analogy of farming. Uh, again, I'm elaborating the what he has spoken. He just gives one line in that. But only when farming happens now, when this rainy season comes on June, July, one gets 100 kg of rice. But one can use that rice. Two farmers, imagine. Again, this is again I'm expanding this like what the hint what Chakrut has given. He just gives there like the farmer sows and reaps benefit like that. So two farmers, both of them get 100 kg of rice from the zamindar, and they get 50 acres or 10 acres for that 100 kg for sowing. But the one farmer thinks, let me just who is going to work so hard? Like people who are there like materialistic or past materialistic, अरे इतना क्यों टेंशन लेना है? Let's now 100 kg is there. Now it's raining heavily. It's so cold. Who will go, and especially if you want to put rice, it's like you have to go practically inside the water till knees to do the sowing, and first you have to sow it somewhere and grow it 1 inch, 2 inch, then take it the rope and put it inside the farm. So one farmer tells, so let us cook this and eat. It will go for 100 kg. Some 3, 4 people are in the house. It will go for 1, 2, 3 months, 4 months. That is like, a pious materialist cooking and trying to eat. Another farmer is like, okay, let's utilize this time. Let us take this 100 kg of rice and sow this 10 acres of land. So each grain will give at least 50 to 100 grains of rice. And when the season comes for harvesting, that one grain has given 100. That means almost 100. 1:100. So 100 kg becomes 100 into 100. How much? 100 into 100 is almost like 10,000. 10,000, right? Since Chakravarti says that those 100 kg of rice is gone inside. That has gone inside the land. But what is coming out is 10,000 kg of rice. So similarly, we can see our life which is there now in this body, this prarabdha, it gets dissolved. But what comes out from the grain of this lifetime is a new grain of spiritual life, which is eternal. So that grain is compared to the time factor. One day is compared to the one grain. And every day we are chanting, reading, hearing that day is going, but the investment is that we are getting eternal time in the spiritual world. That is how this is not an loss, it is an investment. Also, investment also like you have to take some money and put it in the bank. It is you can't use it, but then it over a period of time it gives lot of interest, and it becomes 10 times, 20 times. This is what Chakravarti gives in his purport commentary for this Udyanastam cha yanasu. Because for very gross people, when you tell about how bhakti stops you from dying, but when we give this example, they understand it's an investment because they know they want to double it, they want to triple it, they can understand this. And as all of you told, again, it's a permanent asset. We become eternal. Hmm? Yes. गन्धर्वस्तादृशेरस्य मैथुनस्य च शिष्टाश्रितः परिव्रत्या विलुम्पन्ति सर्वकाम विनिर्मितम्. Yes, bro, please continue.
Along with Chandavega were many female Gandharvis, as there were soldiers, and all of them repetitively plundered all the paraphernalia for sense enjoyment. There are so many machines for ordinary household activities. There are machines for washing dishes, cleansing the floor, shaving, clipping hair. Today, everything is done by machines. All these facilities for sense gratification are described in this verse as Sarva Kama Vinirmita. The time factor, however, is so strong that not only is our span of life being expended, but all the machines and facilities for sense gratifications are deteriorating. Therefore, in this verse, the word vilumpanti, plundering, is used. Everything is being plundered from the very beginning of our lives. This plundering of our possessions and lifespan begins with the day of our birth. One day will come when death will finish everything, and the living entity will have to enter another body to begin another chapter of life and again begin the cycle of material sense gratification. Prahlad Maharaj describes this process as punah charvita charvananam. The central point of material life is sense gratification.
We may discover many ways to squeeze the juice out of the sugar thing, but the result is the same. Already the juice is gone. Deshandaveganucha Deshandaveganucharah Puranjana Puram Yada Artum Mare Bire Tatra Pratyeshedat Prajagaraha. Done told your 3 verses?
Yes, I can read, bro.
Yeah.
King Gandharvaraj Chandavega and his followers began to plunder the city of Puranjana. A snake with 5 hoods began to defend the city. When they began to plunder the body, which has surpassed 50 years, the watchman, the life heir, defended it. Do not loot this city while I am here, he said with pride. Even if one reaches 50 years, for 2 or 3 years, the strength does not decrease. Thus, the 55th year is generally taken by the government regulations as the final year for retirement. The energy which is fatigued after 55 years is figuratively described herein as serpent with 5 hoods.
It's a prana. It's a oja, teja, and everything. So Prabhupada speaks about prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, different kinds of. 50th year it starts decreasing and slowly 51, 52, 53, 3, 4 years. Somehow he pulls. As the 55th year onwards, it's like becomes tough. Therefore, the retirement time is kept that time. Shashaktavi shatereko vimshatya cha shatam shamah puranjano purodhyaksho gandharve yote bali.
The 5 hooded serpent, the superintendent and protector of the city of King Puranjana, fought with the Gandharvas for 100 years. He fought alone with all of them, although they numbered 720.
720 because they were having 720 days, 360 days, 360 nights. From 720. So one is to fight in the daytime, other is to fight in night time. Total the year has day and night. So including that, 360 into 2, 720.
The 360 days and 360 nights combined to become the 720 soldiers of Chandavega time. One has to fight these soldiers throughout one's lifespan, beginning with birth and ending with death. This fight is called the struggle for existence. Actually, the living entity does not take birth, nor does he die, but he has to fight with the stringent laws of material nature throughout the entire span of his lifetime. He must also face different kinds of miserable conditions. Despite all this, the living entity, due to illusion, thinks that he is well situated in sense gratification.
Yamane sambandhe ekashmin बहुवीर्युदा चिंतां परम जगामार्तः साराष्ट्र पुरबंधवा. Yes, next. Thing.
Because he had to fight alone with so many soldiers, all of whom were great warriors. The serpent with 5 hoods became very weak. Seeing that his most intimate friend was weakening, King Puranjana and his friends and citizens living within the city all became very anxious. For 53 years, the watchman could not be defeated. After that, however, gradually he was defeated. Puranjana became unhappy on seeing that his life heir, his relative was growing weak. The living entity within the body can struggle up to the limit of 100 years with good luck. But after that, it is not possible to prolong the struggle. Thus, the living entity submits and falls victim. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung Vriddha Kala Aula Shaba Sukha Bhagala. When one becomes old, it becomes impossible to enjoy material happiness. Generally, people think that religion and piety come at the end of life, and at this time, one generally becomes meditative and takes to some so-called yogic process to relax in the name of meditation. Meditation, however, is simply a farce for those who have enjoyed life in sense gratification. To meditate, one must restrain himself from all kinds of sense gratification. King Puranjana a living entity, being thus victimized by the hard struggle for existence, took to transcendental meditation with his friends and relatives. Prabhuji, you are muted.
Yeah, Prabhupada is saying, what is the meditation? That meditation is nothing but transcendental meditation. One line before he is writing, that meditation is being defeated by hard struggle for existence. That is a fashion. That time, transcendental meditation, sometimes such meditative process pass for transcendental meditation. TM. Prabhupada is pulling leg of transcendental meditation. So,
There's I see Mahesh Yogi.
yes. So that can give you some health, some stage, but not much more than that for some time, but not like what Chakravarti was saying, eternal immortal life. Ayurharti Vaipamsam. It cannot give us that. Saeva Puryam Madhubu Panchaleshu Swaparshade Upanitam Balindranam Strijito Navidat Bhayam. Mataji can read. Parmeshwar Mataji, you comfortable to read?
Yes. King Puranjana collected
Taxes.
King Puranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala and thus was able to engage in sexual indulgence because being completely under the control of woman. He could not understand that his wife was passing away and that he was reaching the point of death. Government men, including kings, presidents, secretaries, and ministers, are in the position to utilize taxes collected from the citizens for sense gratification. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that in this Kali Yuga, government men means Nitya, Praj, and those who connected with the government as well as exalted government ministers, secretaries and the presidents will all simply collect the taxes for the sense gratification. The government is top heavy and without increasing the taxes, the government cannot maintain itself. When the taxes are collected, they are utilized for the sense gratification of the government's officials. Such irresponsible politicians, after life, everything is forget that there is a time when the death will come to take away all the sense gratification, all their sense gratification. Some of them are convinced that after life everything is finished. Such philosophers philosophizing will not save one from the danger of death, not it will save one from an abominable afterlife.
Yeah, in this life they have to die, and in next life they have to suffer for that. Kalasya duhita kachit trilokim varam ichchati parayantantina barhishma pratyananda kashana.
Hare Krishna. My dear king, um,
Prachina Barishat.
Prachina Parishmit at the time of the daughter of formidable time was seeking her husband throughout the three worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. Purport. In due course of time, when the body become old and practically invalid, it is the subject to just the suffering of old age. There are some little 1 minute, Prabhu. Screen is down. There are four basic kinds of suffering: birth, old age, disease, and death. No scientist or the philosophist has ever been able to make a solution of these four miserable conditions. This invalidity of old age, known as jara, it is frequently is figuratively explained here as the daughter of time. No one likes her, no one likes her, but she is very much anxious to accept anyone as her husband. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is the inevitable for everyone.
Yeah, there are four problems: birth, old
This
age,
is,
disease, death.
this
Nobody.
is very true, Prabhu. Now I realizing just as our age is growing, so all these problems are coming with us only.
Yeah, this will come to all of us. Only time is
Yeah.
separating. Yes. So this is what Bhagavatam. It is like showing mirror to us.
Yes.
Especially this Puranjana is like that only. All this chapter 25, 26, 27, 28. दौर्भाग्येनात्मनो लोके विश्रुता दुर्भाग्यतीश विश्रुता दुर्भगेति सा या तुष्टा राजर्षयेतु वृत्तादात् पूर्वे वरम्.
The daughter of the time, Jara, was very unfortunate. Consequently, she was known as a Durbhaga, means ill-fated. However, she was once pleased with a great king, and because the king accepted her, she granted him as a great benediction.
Hmm. So who was that king? That king was Puru. Since she was
True.
accepted as the son of Yayati Puru, she gave him a boon. What is that boon? He got the kingdom of his father. That is the benediction mentioned here. Again, Prabhupada quotes here, who was Jara, daughter of time, is known as the most unfortunate daughter. She was, however, at one time accepted by the king, Yayati's great king Yayati, because Sukracharya cursed him because he was enjoying with Sarmishta. Yayati was cursed by his father-in-law for enjoying Sarmishta. Later, King Yayati became very much attached to Sarmishta. Devyani, he was married to Devyani, but he was told not to enjoy Sarmishta. But then Sukracharya gets a complaint from Devyani that he's enjoying Sarmishta, who is a Kshatriya's king's daughter. That time, Sukracharya curses him that immediately you be victimized by old age. Then he exchanges that old age. Again, when Devyani goes and complains, Are he has become old, how will I enjoy with him? Then again, it also can swap it with your one of the son. Then Puru, Yadu doesn't accept it because Krishna won't appear. So Puru accepts it. Then what happens? He gets the kingdom. That is what Prabhupada writes here. So what is the purport? You can read this purport, Madhuri. The purport is that
The purport is that one can accumulate wealth and all kinds of material opulences, but during old age one cannot enjoy them. Although Pura attained his father's kingdom, he could not enjoy all the opulences, for he had sacrificed his youth. One should not wait for old age in order to become Krishna conscious. Due to the invalidity of old age, one cannot make progress in Krishna consciousness, however opulent he may be materially.
कदाचित्तात्मना सा ब्रह्मलोकान् महिं गतम् वव्रे बृहद्व्रतं मम तु जना जानाति काममोहिता. Yes.
Any other devotee will read, Prabhu? I read the
Sankarshan Prabhu, you can read. Sankarshan Prabhu. Can you read
When
Prabhu?
I once came to this earth from Brahmaloka, the highest planetary system, the daughter of time, wandering over the universe, met me. Knowing me to be an avowed brahmachari, she became lusty and proposed that I accept her.
So this is a sequence of where initially when Narad Muni came to this earth after getting the Narad Muni's form, basically what it is, Narad Muni is not having prarabdha. He is blessed. He is a spiritual body. So even Kalakarna wanted to basically the death wanted to attack him, but he being spiritual, he that was not much impact. That is what Chakrutta is writing here. She thought that Narada was an earthly when he came to the earth. She did not at all reject him, even though he was lifelong celibator, sannyasi having great powers. Basically, had got a body, spiritual body. That is what Prabhupada also writing here. You can read this Prabhupada.
Taking Narad Muni to be an ordinary man, the daughter of time confronted him with her lusty desire. It requires great strength to resist a woman attraction. It is difficult for old men, and what to speak of young. Those who live as brahmacharis must follow in the footsteps of the great sage of Narad Muni, who never accepted the proposals of Jara. Those who are too much sexually addicted become victims of Jara, and very soon their lifespan is shortened. Without utilizing the human form of life for Krishna consciousness, the victim of Jara die very soon in this world.
Yes, Mai Samrapya Vipula Madachapam Sudoshaham Statum Arhashinai Katra Madhyashna Vimuko Mune.
So Prabhuji just points out the brahmacharis, we see they look very, very young, even when they are 50, 55, 60, because they never accept the proposal of Jara. It's, they look very vital. So I think this is the connection from this.
Yeah, that is what Prabhupada is writing here in the first three lines, which I not read. The great sage Narada Muni was a Nashtik Brahmachari, and that is, he never had sex life. He was consequently an evergreen youth. Old age, Jara could not attack him. Evergreen youth. So basically, when like Chatush Kumaras, they never engaged in, they never wanted to grow old. Therefore, they're like children. So that is what happens when one doesn't get into that. He remains innocent. The vitality is maintained. Aging is stopped. There's a shloka in one of the Puranas. Jivanat, when you conserve semen, it is life. When you spell it, it is death. Maranat bindu patanat. That is how it works. So a lot of vitality is there. So when human being follows that celibacy, so that nourishes his whole Brahmarandra, which is 1,000-petaled lotus inside the brain. So because of that, his dharana, his memory, his teja, voj, everything increases. And even when they become 50, 60, nobody can understand. Even for aggressors also, if they follow strict, if they follow the Grasa Brahmachari vow, the same for them also. Yes.
The great sage,
Yeah.
the great sage Narada continued, when I refused to accept her request, she became very angry at me and cursed me severely. Because I refused her request, she said that I would not be able to stay in one place for a long time.
So here Chakrutwad writes, angry with me for refusing, she cursed me. Who? The Kalkanya. What was the curse? Actually, because I don't have any prarabdha karma in my body, Narada Muni is telling. He is not having a birth, old age, disease, death. And thus, I'm devoid of the 6 afflictions of lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. Old age and death. This Kalkanya is death. That Jara is old age. By refusing her request, I'm able to travel everywhere to deliver people as a result of her curse, which became a form of mercy. So he cannot stay at one place. You can read this purport too.
The great sage Narad Muni has a spiritual body, therefore old age, disease, birth and death do not affect him. Narad is the most kind devotee of the Supreme Lord, and his only business is to travel all over the universe and preach God consciousness. In other words, his business is to make everyone a Vaishnava. Under the circumstances, there is ordinarily no need for him to stay in one place for more than the time he requires to preach, since by his own free will he is already traveling all over the universe. The curse of Kalkanya is described as fortunate. Like Narad Muni, many other devotees of the Lord are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord in different places and in different universes. Such personalities are beyond the jurisdiction of material laws.
Tato vihata sankalpa kanyaka yavaneswaram mayopadischtam asadhya vavre namna bayam patim.
After After she was thus disappointed by me, with my permission, she approached the king of the Yavanas, whose name was Bhaya or Fear, and she accepted him as her husband.
So Narada, showing mercy, instructed people's fear should be weakened by the influence of old age. And Bhaya means what? When Asur Kalkanne comes, the people become old and they become fearful of death. Yes. Read the purport, being the most.
Being the most perfect Vaishnava, Sri Narad Muni is always willing to do good to others, even to one who curses him. Although Kalkanya, the daughter of time, was refused by Narad Muni, she was given a shelter. Of course, no one could give her shelter, but a Vaishnava gives shelter somewhere to such an unfortunate girl. When Jara or old age attacks, everyone dwindles and de-
Getting good.
deteriorates in on one stroke. Narad Muni gave shelter to Kalkanya and counter-attacked the ordinary karmis. If one accepts the instruction of Narad Muni, the ocean of fear bhaya can be very quickly removed by the grace of the great Vaishnava.
Yeah. So what is being this translation means? After she was disappointed with me, my permission, she approached the king of Yavanas. What is that? Somebody who is not following the Shastras, especially sense gratifiers, karmis, or who are like Asurik, they become fearful and death comes. But somebody is following dharmic principle, or somebody is like becoming spiritual, especially here. It's not dharma, adharma, it's somebody is being spiritualist. They will not be fearful because they know very clearly they are not the bodies and they are chanting Hare Krishna and they're preparing Baba when I want to leave the body so that I can go back home back to Godhead. So that is what Narada Muni made an adjustment here. Rishabham yavananam tvam vrane viripshitam patim sankalpastvai bhutan kritakila narishyati. Yes, who else is depending? Okay, Shirumani Radhika Mataji, I think, yeah, please read.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Approaching the king of the Yavanas, Kalakanya addressed him a great hero, saying, "My dear sir, you are the best of the untouchables. I am in love with you, and I want you as my husband. I know that no one is baffled if he makes friend with you."
So fear was a king of Yavanas who represented mental and physical disease. That is what Chakravarti is writing here. Mental and physical disease. This is the second meaning to the last phrase. The vow of the devotee is never destroyed. Rishyati. Because Nanadmuni told, I'll make you to be accepted by wife as someone. Devotee Nanda made a vow that people's fear should become lessened. So let that not be otherwise. Therefore, become my husband so I can enjoy you. Bhuta can mean the devotee of the Lord, for it is said, Janasya Krishna Dumikasya Daiva Dadarmasilasya Sudukkitasya Nugrahayena Charantinam Bhutani Bhaumyani Janardasya. Now to give mercy to suffering people engaged in sin under the control of karma who are ignorant of Krishna, the auspicious devotees of the Lord move in this world. Basically, Narad Muni made an arrangement for this Lacha, Yavana, Raja, to accept her so that he can become fear personified before the death comes. You can read this, Mataji. You can what you can
Yes.
you can read this.
In
The
this
word Yavanam. From here you can read. Because then that will be very clear. What
okay.
what
Yes,
is the meaning of Yavana or Mricha? One should not take it for nation. It's not some country. It's about the following of principles Prabhupada explains.
okay. The word Yavanam Rishabham refers to the king of the Yavanas. The Sanskrit word Yavana and Mlencha apply to those who do not follow the Vedic principles. According to the Vedic principles, one should rise early in the morning, take bath, chant Hare Krishna after Mangalarti to the deities, study Vedic literature, take prasad, and engage in dressing and decorating the deities. One must also collect money for the temple expenditure, or if one is householder, he must go work in accordance with the prescribed duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. In this way, one should live a life of spiritual understanding, and this is the Vedic way of civilization. One who does not follow all these rules and regulations is called a Yavana or Mlencha. One should not mistakenly think that these words referred to certain classes of men in other countries. There is no question of limitations according to nationalism. Whether one lives in India or outside of India, he is called a Yavana or Blencha if he does not follow the Vedic principles. One who does not actually follow the hygienic principles prescribed in the Vedic rules and regulations will be subjected to many contagious disease. Because the students in this Krishna consciousness movement are advised to follow the Vedic principles, they naturally become hygienic.
Prabhupada, I think if a person Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man even if he is 75 or 80 years old, like Veda Ramkrishna told. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was engaged in writing at the age of 100. He wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita, where people can't stay also alive. And then Sanatana Goswami lived at very old age. And after they retired from their occupation family lives, presented so many valuable literatures. Nana Shastra Vicharanakai Nipuno Saddharmo Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. Basically, how even after trying everything, even in the old days, they did a lot of contribution. That is the effect of following strictly the Krishna conscious principle. Thus Jara. Yes, Mata, you can read from it. Thus Jara.
Yes. Thus, Jara, the effect of old age does not harass a devotee. This is because a devotee follows the instructions and the determination of Narad Muni. All devotees are in the disciplic succession stemming from Narada Muni because they worship the deity according to Narad Muni's direction, namely the Narada Pancharatra or Pancharatrika Vidhi. A devotee follows the principles of Pancharatrika Vidhi as well as Bhagavad Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi includes preaching work, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. The hearing and chanting of the glories of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Pancharatrik Vidhi includes Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Because a devotee rigidly follows the instructions of Narada Muni. He has no fear of old age, disease, or death. Apparently, a devotee may grow old, but he is not subjected to the symptoms of defeat experienced by a common man in old age. Consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death as a common man is fearful of death. When Jara or old age takes shelter of a devotee, Kalakanya diminishes the devotee's fear. A devotee knows that after death he is going back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he has no fear of death. Thus, instead of depressing a devotee, advanced age helps him become fearless and thus happy.
Dvav imam anusochanti Balo asat apagraho Yalloka Shastropanatam Na Rati Na Tadichati.
One does not give charity according to the customs of injunctions of the scriptures, and one who does not accept charity in that way are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Such persons follows the path of the foolish. So surely they must lament at the end.
So Chakravarti says here that when somebody asks something, the charity should be given and one should also receive. So here he's telling, I'm unmarried girl, suddenly come to your house. It means it's here charity. Like one gives one certain charity, na? So he should accept. He's linked to Kalakanya is linked to Yavan Raj. You are a household, should accept me. And Narada being merciful to the people, desired that people's fear should decrease. That wish is according to common understanding and scripture. Therefore accept me. Those who accept the scriptures, those who are devotees, their fear will decrease, but not of those people who are atheistic. Yes, Mother, you can read here. One Shastic injunction holds.
One Shastric injunction holds that a householder, a kshatriya, or an administrative head should not refuse to accept a woman if she voluntarily requests to become a wife. Since Kalakanya, the daughter of time, was deputed by Narad Muni to offer herself to Yavana Raja, the king of Yavanas could not refuse her. All transactions must be performed in light of the Shastric injunctions. The Shastric injunctions are confirmed by great sages like Narada Muni. As stated in Narottam Das Thakur's Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya, Chitte te Koriya Aikya. One should follow the principle of saintly persons, scriptures, and the spiritual master. In this way, one is sure to attain success in life. Kalakanya, the daughter of time, presented herself before the king of the Yavanas precisely in terms of sadhu, shastra, and guru. Thus, there was no reason for not accepting her.
Yes. Yes. So she's telling how the Kalakanya should be Tripurachara. अतो भजस्व मां भद्र भजन्तीं मे दयं कुरु एतावान् पौरुषो धर्म यत् अर्थननुकम्पते. She's telling.
Kalkanya continued, O gentle one, I am now present before you to serve you. Please accept me and thus show me mercy. It is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed.
Purusha means accomplished by man. Even if you show strength, you cannot say, I'll not accept old age because equipped with Narada's vow, I'll destroy you. Internally saying this, externally she then spoke with quite joking words. Basically, she's telling, Jvara. You can read his book, Mother, Yavan Raj.
Okay, Yavanraj, the king of Yavanas, could also refuse to accept Kalakanya, daughter of time, but the considered the request due to the order of Narad Muni. Thus, he accepted Kalkanya in a different way. In other words, the injunction of Narad Muni or the path of devotional service can be accepted by anyone within the three worlds and certainly by the king of the Yavanas. Lord Chaitanya himself requested everyone to preach the cult of Bhakti Yoga all over the world, in every village and town. Preachers in the Krishna Consciousness movement have actually experienced that even the Yavanas and Mlenchas have take to spiritual life on the strength of Narada Muni's Pancharatrik Vidhi. When mankind follows the disciplic succession as recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone throughout the world will benefit.
So Prabhupada is giving an example that has she was requested for Evan Raj. So similarly, even the Evanas also can accept Bhakti by Panchasattvic Vidya and get benefited. Next shloka. कालकन्योदितो वाचो निशम्य यवनेश्वर चिकीर्षुर्देव गुह्यंश सस्मितं तम अभाषतः.
After hearing statement of Kalkanya, daughter of time, the king of the Yavanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalkanya as follows.
He desired to put the wheel of samsara into motion. That is secret of the Lord, Deva Guhyam. By smiling, he indicated that he could not refuse her words. Basically, everybody will be succumbed by her. Yavan Raj, you can read this, Mataji. Yavan Raj, the king of.
Yavanraj, the king of the Yavanas, who also servant of Krishna, consequently he wanted to execute the purpose of Krishna through the agency of Kalkanya. Although Kalkanya means invalidity of or old age, Yavan Raja wanted to serve Krishna by introducing Kalkanya everywhere. Thus, a sane person by attaining old age will become fearful of death.
Yeah, Prabhupada continues here. Foolish person engaged in material activities as if they live forever with material advancement, or they can take that money after the next. Under illusion, they think material opulence will save them. That's called prisoner of success. And then birth or disease, death will be unsolved, are still unsolved. Nonetheless, foolish scientists are thinking that they have advanced materially. Kalkanya. You can read
when Kalkanya, the invalidity of old age attacks them, they become fearful of death. If they are sane. Those who are insane simply do not care for death, nor do they know what is going to happen after death. They are under the wrong impression that after death there is no life, and consequently they act very irresponsibly in this life and enjoy unrestricted sense gratification. For an intelligent person, the appearance of old age is an impetus to spiritual life. People naturally fear impending death. The king of the Yavanas tried to utilize Kalkanya for this purpose.
So basically, what to do is in Krishna service, because when there's death, then there's fear. When there's fear, then they can take up bhakti, and in that way, at least they can benefit themselves. Maya nirupitastubhyam patiratma samadhina nabhinandanti lokoyam tvam abhadram ashammatam. Who else has not it read? Yes, Mataji, you can read one shloka more, and then I'll ask again.
Yes. Yeah. The king of the Yavanas replied, after much consideration, I have arrived a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can anyone accept you as his wife?
Chakrutpa is writing here, I have decided on a husband to enjoy you. The people of the earth planet. That means people who are addicted to sense gratification. They will become your husband. Atma Samadhina means by the thoughts in the mind.
After much consideration, the king of Yavanas decided to make the best use of a bad bargain. Kalkanya was a bad bargain and no one liked her, but everything can be used for the service of the Lord. Thus, the king of the Yavanas tried to utilize her for some purpose. The purpose of already been explained. That is, Kalkanya as Jara, the invalidity of old age can be used to arouse a sense of fear in people so that they will prepare for the next life by engaging in Krishna consciousness.
Tvam avyakta bhungshva lokam karma vinirmitam yahi me pratana yukta prajanasham pranashyashi. Prabhupada. So writing translation. This world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without opposition. So everyone will ask, where has she come from? Your movement is invisible. How old age comes? Nobody knows. How death comes? Old age. Nobody can understand. Suddenly, invisibly it comes in. Suddenly one fine day, one person sees white hair coming from his hair or from his beard or whatever it is. Acting in this way, you will attack the people, and by force, the world will be your husband. By force, the world will be your husband. The whole, not only men, even women, anybody who's having body, they'll become your husband. This is the meaning. If you fear that people will kill you, since you are so undesirable, you will be assisted by my troops. With them, be victorious. After enjoying the people, you will destroy them. Who will have the power? Who will have the power? This is what Chakravarti is writing. The word karma means manufactured by fruitive activities. This entire material world is made up of karma. Everyone is fully engaged in decorating the world with highways, motor cars, skyscrapers, businesses. All this appears very nice in decoration of a dead body or Prabhupada writes, so Prabhupada is quoting Rishabdev's teaching, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma, yadindya priti apnarolti. Actually, in this world, there is no happiness. People are simply engaged in trying to counteract unhappiness. Foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. Therefore, the king of heaven has decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. Of course, after death, there must be birth. Therefore, Yavan thought it wise to kill all the karmis through the agency of Kalkanya. Thus, tried to make them aware that materialistic advancement is not actual advancement. Every living entity is a spiritual being, and consequently, without spiritual advancement, the human form of life is ruined. Even if they don't perfect, as soon as they die in this life, when they see death, the next life they will become fearful of death. At least they'll become more cautious. Prav, prav, chvara, ayam, mama, prata, tvam cha mega bhagini bhava, charami ubayam lokesmin, avyakto bhima shainika. King of Devanas continued, here is my brother Prajvara. I now accept you as my sister. I shall employ both of you, as well as my dangerous soldiers, to act imperceptibly within this world. So Yavana is basically the enemy of the body. What is that? Old age and Prajvara. Just before the death, a high degree of fever comes. That is what Chakravarti is mentioning here. What is Prajvara means? Vishnu Jvara, destructive nature of Shiva as well. And again, Chakravarti writes in Mrachas Yavanas, they accept the sister only and they enjoy her as a wife. Giving their Narada is telling again. Thus, the Narada's word will be true. If I go near the devotees of the Lord, however, having enjoyed me exceedingly, destroy me. Devotees will not get destroyed by the old age. They will destroy old age and they take body and accept spiritual body. Just as you did not make Narada your husband, do not make the devotee of the Lord your husband. Therefore, I have Enjoy invisibly the people made up of karma who are not doing bhakti. The devotees are not made of karma, they do not become your husbands. I am your husband among all the people. Since they have all fear, thus Narada's words are made true. So here, Yavan Raj is telling, I am your husband in the name of all people who are there who are not practicing bhakti, they are your husbands. Prabhupada writes, Kala Kanya was sent by Narad Muni to Yavan Raj so that she might become his wife, but instead of accepting wife, he accepted as sister. And this is against a Vedic principle and restricted as far as sex life is concerned. Consequently, they sometimes not hesitate to have sex with their sisters. In this age of Kali, there are many instances of such incest. Although Yavanraj accepted the request of Narad Muni to show respect to him, he was nonetheless thinking of illicit sex. This was due to his being the king of Yavanas and Rachas. Prajvara means fever sent by Lord Vishnu. Such a fever is always set at 107 degrees, temperature at which a man dies. Thus, the king of Lachas and Yavanas requested the daughter of time, Kal Kanya, to become his sister. There was no need to ask her to become his wife, for the Yavanas and Lachas do not make distinction as far as sex is concerned. Combined and strengthened by the soldiers of Yavanraj, namely non-hygienic conditions, illicit sex, and ultimately high degree of temperature are to bring on death. They would be able to smash the materialistic view of life. In this connection, it is significant that Narada was immune to the attack of Jara or invalidity, and similarly, Jara or the destructive force cannot attack any follower of Narad Muni or a pure Vaishnava. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta Purport, the 4th canto, 27th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Attack by Chandavega on the city of King Puranjana, the character of Kalaganya. So we have completed this. 25, 26, 27. So we completed these 3 chapters last weekend, this weekend. So we can continue the next. Now it's already 4:30. We'll end now. If you have any comments or any you want to ask, otherwise we'll end now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ramakrishna. We'll end now.
Yeah. Thank you. We asked the questions.
Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki उपस्थित
Jai.
Jai. Thank you.
Jai.
End of